Hey everybody, hope everyone's doing great. Good to see you. We're just making sure everything's working before we start the live stream. So we look like we have Mike here. Dr. Steve, welcome back. Good to see you. How cool is that? So glad to see you. Paris, welcome. Wendy. Oh, we have such a great group already. I'm so excited. Thank you so much, guys, for spending your Wednesday with me. So let me get rid of the text there. Okay, cool. So it is a Wednesday. I'm so glad you guys are here. We're doing part 4 of Emma here, and I'm enjoying it. And we're getting to the nitty-gritty of everything. So I hope everyone is having a good Wednesday, a good week. And let's just go ahead and jump right into it. Whoa, got 3 camera angles here. How amazing. Jeff, good to see you, Jeffrey. And oh, so Dr. Steve says my 2 nieces were in town this month, and oh yeah, definitely family comes first, right? So that's cool. And oh, so you showed them how to airbrush the portrait, how to airbrush the portrait of them that you painted? Oh man, that's so great. That is so fantastic. Willie, good to see you. I have to make the chat a little bigger so I can read it. Let's see. So we're going to go with color, layout. I got to make the letters bigger for my eyes. There we go. Okay, cool. So now I could definitely read it here. And let's see. So loving the new camera angles, Dr. Steve says. Thank you so much. Trying to up the game, right? Thanks for noticing, guys. I really appreciate it. Paris says that he has a new Iwata HPC Plus. What do I think of it? I think it's a great airbrush. Definitely. Can't go wrong with it. It's a good all-purpose airbrush, so definitely a good brush, so that's for sure. Heath, good to see you. So let's see. All right, so I think I said hello to everyone that is here. If I didn't, just give me a quick shout out. So I have 2 airbrushes loaded right now. I have my Badger, the Extreme Patriot Arrow, and I have this in my darker mixture, which is 2 drops of India ink to 1 eyedropper of water. And here I have the 1-to-1 mixture of ink to water in my Sotar, so my lighter and my darker. So I'm starting to go into a 2 airbrush system, maybe even going into a 3 airbrush system. So stay tuned for that. Just working out some of the kinks, some of the bugs and everything like that. So how is the sound, guys? The sound good quality? The picture's okay? Now my hand is going to be a weird color. Don't worry about that. The most important thing is I want the picture to be the right color. So that's why my hand is kind of radioactive, right? Okay. So we're just going to work on the hair right now. And I really wanted to go ahead and include the picture of the reference. So Mike S says all is good. So great, Mike. That is so fantastic. Let's see. He says the Sotar Slim works great. Put a medium nozzle in my 2020. And wow, what a difference. So you found that a medium nozzle was really good? Oh, fantastic. Yeah, yeah, a little bit, right? Whoa, not good. That's pretty funny, Heath. Thanks, man. Okay, it's always good. You guys always make me laugh, and I always enjoy hanging out with you guys. So I'm in that darker mixture right now with my Sotar. I'm using a 24 millimeter lens. What I'm able to do with that 24 millimeter lens, it has a much higher lower aperture, so the picture quality is a little bit better. Check the focus. Okay, definitely. That's a great help, Dr. Steve. So let's see. So let's do the magic of DSLR, and we're going to make sure that focus is on the money here. Okay, so we'll just micro adjust. Okay. How's that? Better, Dr. Steve? I hope so. No, thank you so much for that heads up, you know. Let's see. Okay, so we're going to go ahead. Oh, thanks, Dr. Steve. I appreciate that so much. I really miss having you these last couple of weeks, so I'm so glad you're back. Oh, it's so great. Thank you so much for spending a part of your Wednesday evening with me. So, remember what I always say about the freehand shield. You always want to go perpendicular, not parallel. Now, if my hand color is distracting, let me know. I'll go ahead and fix it. Thanks, Dr. Steve. That's so great. So thank you so much. And so Heath says the 2020 I have actually has a small, medium, and large nozzles, and I look forward to trying the large as well. Wow, very cool. So Wendy says she feels like she's watching the Incredible Hulk. Yeah, I wonder if Lou Ferrigno does airbrush, right? That's the old Incredible Hulk. Actually, I'm going to probably go ahead and... Oh, you're very welcome, Dr. Steve. So I gave a shout out to him, you know, letting him know that we all miss him. Okay, so I'm going to do a quick color adjustment on this radioactive hand here. Let's see. Okay, we'll get rid of a little bit of the yellow. Okay, see, there you go. Now it's not as jarring. So funny. Okay, so now we have a less radioactive hand, and we are going in with the hair with a darker color here. And do you, Dr. Steve says, do you do auto white balance? I do, but it's so difficult. And a DSLR, it's pretty easy. But, you know, with the other ones, I usually do an auto white balance. Also, let's see. So the feed died? Oh, okay. So, oh, okay, cool. I do auto white balance sometimes. Right now I had it set to tungsten lighting, but then I micro adjusted for the picture and I wasn't taking into consideration my hand, and that's when it looked really weird. And I'm going to actually adjust that just a little bit more. Let's see. Just go a little bit more to the red. There we go. See, now I look human. But thanks, guys. Always, if you see anything strange, always give me a heads up. So Mike S says, hey, Tim, do you accept images for the next portrait? I have a couple I found, maybe kill it or send to you. Yeah, you know, I'll definitely take a look at it, that's for sure. And I appreciate that. Definitely. I always appreciate any kind of, you know, consideration or something like that. They're all natural, that's right. And so right now I'm just sort of working. So do you guys like the 24 millimeter lens? Just able to get a little bit more clarity in the main picture here. Now, one of the things I started doing was I started actually taking a look at my YouTube channel and seeing if I could see my live stream while I'm painting. So, because I have a TV here. So let's see. Dr. Steve says it's nice and great to see the other images and how far from the picture you are. Oh, great. Thanks. Yeah, distance is very important, right? And Willie says, did Blick stop selling the gunmetal paper? I really hope not. I'm going to cry if that happened. Why, you don't see it at the website? Because that would be actually tragic. I'd have to, like, hunt down gunmetal because I become very fond of it. Oh my God. That's like my favorite color. I guess I would have to contact De La Rowney and see if they could help me out if that's the case. Uh, oh, so Dr. Steve says, love doctor. Just kidding. Family medicine, geriatric medicine. I made this account a while ago to protect my identity. There are other Steve Morale people out there. Oh, so cool. Hey, Bill, good to see ya. How are ya? So great to see you. Thanks for stopping by. So that's really fantastic. It's such an honor to have you with us, Doctor. And so I'm just working on, now sometimes I'll go ahead, and this is the only time I'll really go parallels when I'm doing like some hair here and there. I'll do it that way. So one of the things I really like to stress lately is how to use these freehand shields, right? That's so important. So we're just going to continue moving around. Now what I'm going to do, since I have my Sotar loaded up with the lighter value, I can just come here. And this is a kind of like a breakthrough idea for me, is that I could just go ahead and just come in with the lighter color, the lighter value, and then just, you know, go right into oh, what's happening here? It says, oh no, I can't find the gunmetal. Looks like they dropped it. Really? And Jake says, Tim, wait, stop. Okay, stop. Now that's really, really horrible. Yeah, no, yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Steve. Dr. Steve says maybe they should know about the channel and what we're doing with them. Wow, so I'm gonna definitely, I only have 2 packs left. Wow. It's not like, you know, it's a shame because I really think that one of the reasons why it's blowing up is because of this technique. And, you know, and I think a lot of people are buying it, and I think that's what's happening. Jake says you're comparing values to another. Oh, Jake says you're comparing the values to one another. Like, here's the darkest dark, here's what's lighter. Exactly. I'm just moving around, Jake, and basically using the lighter value now. And since I darkened some areas, I can go ahead and lighten. Actually, I darkened the darkest darks here. I can go ahead and darken up the midtones, and that's what I'm doing. Now the mixture on the Sotar Slim right here is that 3 to 3 mixture, 3 drops of India ink to 3 full eyedroppers of water. So that's really cool. So the one image of Josephine Baker, Mike says, 30. Oh, I love Josephine Baker. Rita Hayworth, Marilyn Monroe. Wow, great. Definitely send them on over to me. Jake says Crescent Illustration Board gesso with midtone gesso is just as good, if not better. Those are great ideas, Jake, definitely. What I like about this paper, I've been using this paper for many years. Many years doing my graphite drawing, so I really know what to expect as far as things going, you know, how the airbrush and different air pressures and distances, whether we're going to get spidering or not. So it's going to be a little rough to, but I'm going to definitely contact them ASAP tomorrow, and I'm going to be diligent and ask them what's going on. So on the Dick Blick site, guys, you're not seeing it at all as far as the gunmetal. Is it possible they changed the name due to, the politically correct environment we are? Maybe gunmetal is too scary. I don't know. Uh, Jake says, wet the back of the water. Just oh yeah, definitely. That's definitely good to prevent warping. Oh man. So no worries. We're gonna find some alternatives to this, and so we're gonna be just fine. Curveballs are great. Just it kind of galvanizes our fortitude. Uh, well, that's why I didn't find the gunmetal. Oh, that's. Oh, Wendy can't find the gunmetal. I've looked everywhere in Canada and dead end so far, Heat says. Even look De La Rowney, they don't appear to sell to the public. Um, wow. And Tim is gonna stroke you all. Stop freaking him out. Well, we could contact the manufacturer of the gunmetal. That's true, definitely. We definitely have to contact De La Rowney and say, hey, what are you doing? I mean, you're finally getting some traction on one of your papers, and then you go ahead and pull it off the shelves. Now, is it possible that it's just, due to the website and the popularity, it's getting out of stock, perhaps, I hope? So right now I'm using that much darker, much lighter value, and I'm just getting some of the mid-tones now, because when we use the darkest darks and then we go and then we darken these areas are going to darken automatically. And we could get De La Rowney and have them sell it to Tim. That would be great, yeah. And I wouldn't want to make too much money on you guys either. I would probably give it to you at cost. I wouldn't want to make money on the supplies at all. Just charge you guys the shipping and handling. That's all I would do. Our supplies are expensive enough, right, guys? Yeah, so it's not showing up at all. Wow. So weird. So I think I probably had, probably has to do with the channel and how we're probably, it's grown right now. The channel has 2,040 subscribers. We have gotten over 6,000 views per month, and so and we've come at one time close to 40,000 watch time minutes per 30 days. So I think it could be we're doing that, right? So Dr. Steve says, Tim, could you get it wholesale and sell it with a little upcharge and then have your paints paid for? Oh yeah, that would be cool, but definitely, I definitely would not want to make too much money on you guys, But just the 20 by 30. See, the 20, oh man, the 20 by 30. So we could possibly purchase the 20 by 30s and have them cut to the 8.5 by 11, or even a more useful 8 by 10 or 11 by 14, right guys? Jake says gunmetal isn't a magic surface, it's all okay. Well, I'll tell you, the gunmetal is revealing itself to be much better than the other colors. So that's what I'm finding, guys. So I'm just going to immerse myself a little bit in her forehead here. Just darkening that value a little bit, just right here, as you see. I want her forehead to start turning. So you can see I'm a pretty good distance away. And if there's any kinds of irregularities in this spray, we can always erase, so nothing is set in stone. There we go. Perfect. And let's see. I have not found it, Paris says. I was saying, have you found it? And oh yeah, Bill, Paige made a point to tell me that in okay. Okay, I'm not sure what that means, Mike, but cool. And then, good point, Jake. Gesso sounds like a lot of work compared to opening a pack of gunmetal. Just getting started, though. Yeah. Um, Definitely. I'm going to do a video so we can, maybe one of the live streams, I'll just go ahead and make some surface for you guys, right? So that would be fantastic. Look at this. Wendy says you can get a 25 pack at Jerry's Autorama for $63.10. 25 pack? That's a crazy price. I don't like Jerry's Autorama. I don't endorse that company. They have been fleecing artists for a very long time. I remember back in the early 2000s, they did this really horrible thing where you would purchase something, but they wouldn't tell you the shipping and handling until after you hit the pay button. And it was usually like crazy. And then you would have to actually cancel it if you couldn't afford to pay that really high amount. And so if 2,000 viewers bought a 25 pack, that would be a huge profit for them. Exactly, crooks, exactly. So, Wendy says a correction. A pack, a pack of 12 of 20 by 30, 25 count, $12.79 for a 25 count. So that's interesting. That's a little bit better, a lot better than before. Let's see. Was that Blick or was that the Jerry's? Oh, I was typing 25 count, 20 by 30. Okay, so that sounds better. Okay, so 25 count of 25 by 30 for $60 is not bad. That's not too bad. So I take it back what I said about this situation with Jerry's. But yeah, that would have been a horrible price, Wendy. That's for sure. It's easy to make typos. I do it all the time. Wow. I make my own gesso board, and I've been doing that since the 80s when I was studying with Harvey Dinnerstein at the National Academy School of Fine Arts. And I do that for most of my paintings, for my pastel paintings and everything. But I just love how simple it is, like Dr. Steve says, to rip open a pack of 10 and just start working. I mean, there's something to be said for the simplicity of that. That definitely makes sense for me. But yeah, I mean, making your boards is always optimal, right, Bill? That's for sure. So let's go ahead and we have the darker mixture. We're going to take, let's see if I could find it, the Blackbeard wheat. And we're just going to go ahead and make some some hair texture here. Let's do that real quick. And I like using the darker color here in the Patriot. See that? So we're getting some really nice skin texture. Yeah, and definitely. Paris says, I use ampersand, pastel, and gesso boards. Great, that's fantastic. Dr. Steve says, very cool, Mike. That would help me. I have been putting off buying a projector. So cool. And Jake says, it's wonderful when smooth as pencil can go on like it is paper. Definitely, definitely. So as you can see, I'm using my Blackbeard wheat here. This is not going to be the definitive texture. I'm just adding some hair texture here and there. And as you can see, we can get some really organic hair texture just here and there. And then we'll go back. Let's see. Let's try something different. Just do some errand hairs going this way. And we'll do some right here. There we go. And so we have some nice hair texture going on. So while we have that there, let's get ahead and take our eraser. And let's see if we can just go ahead and add some lights here. And like I said, these aren't the last words. They're just pretty much setting up some hair textures here and there. And I just love how the paper sort of works really well with the hair. And it's almost like doing a dagger stroke, guys. And if I don't, like right now, I'm just sort of like engrossed, so I'm not looking at the questions right now. If it's an important question, just make sure you answer it again once I'm done doing some of the detail here. So notice how I'm moving around with the pencil here, with the eraser. Moving all around, making sure that I get some variation. You know, not just, see the thing is, not just hairs all following each other, but there are some hairs that sort of go their own direction, and that sort of leads to some of the realism. And you don't really have to pay attention to what an individual hair is. You can just indicate one going in its own direction, so it's really great. Let me see here. Dr. Steve says, am I seeing pencil lines on the fingers for contours that you will do later? Yes, definitely. There are some pencil lines here for contours, and what I'll do is I'll either, like for instance, like right here, I could go ahead and just use those pencil lines to guide not only where this midtone ends, but also where this light begins. So you see that? So those were placed well down the line to help me out. So definitely, sometimes you might get trapped with, you know, maybe the white is in there or something like that. The white paint, the white ink is over it. But that's okay. If you just stay with it, put a little bit of elbow grease, you can get rid of those pencil lines. Good, great question, Dr. Steve. Dagger stroke, I like to stab at it with a knife, Dr. Bill says. Mike S says, but I have found USB projectors on eBay that work with Windows for as little as 50 to 60 bucks. Wow, that's pretty cool. I'm using more of your office projector. You know, it's a ViewSonic, and so I use that, and that's been working really well for me. So let's go ahead and work on some of the hair here. It's a good lesson to right now get some hair textures. Now the hairs over here are going inside her blouse, so we want to make sure that we project off those hairs. I mean, not project off, use a freehand shield to protect that edge. And then right here the hair sort of goes over, and we'll just dagger stroke that. See that? And same here, we'll just go ahead and dagger stroke there and over here. So it's so important to, you know, get those dagger strokes. Get those dagger strokes down, guys. It's only going to help you down the line. We can do some freehand shield right here. get a little bit, get some hair textures going. I find myself doing a lot less of the paintbrush technique as I'm getting more control and more experience. And that's not to say that it's a bad thing for anyone to go ahead and incorporate paintbrush techniques. I definitely recommend it, you know, as much as you need it. So that's not a taboo. And of course I can go ahead and clean up my lines here. As you can see, I'm going to clean up some of these lines. And let's see, move that chat text. Let's see, Tim, when you lean forward, your head blocks the camera a little bit. Oh, thank you so much for that. Definitely, I'll watch that. Paris says, I could freehand draw my image, but I wanted to save time. Yeah, you always want to save time, and that's very important. So, that's very, let me go ahead and get some coffee here. Coffee is very important, at least for me. I know Bill was live streaming last night and he had to take a break for coffee. So I definitely feel you there, Bill. And let's go ahead and just make sure we'll just move this over here. So you see I'm using my freehand shield and, you know, going with, you know, my principle of making sure that you're parallel with the freehand shield. You have so much more control when you're parallel with the freehand shield than when you are, you know, when you're perpendicular and not parallel. When you're parallel, you're not going to have as much control, and you find that you can actually go over where you want. Bill says coffee, yes. And Dr. Steve says, I saved a lot of time by just printing from my laser printer in black and white. Yes, that is a time saver, Doctor. No problem there. That's pretty funny. Yeah, you know, I really find that, you know, technology is good to use. And I think a lot of people who are quote unquote purists would be like, that's not right. And if Rembrandt had it, he would use it. Definitely. He was a portrait painter. So, you know, he had to get those things done so he could make money and get back to his own stuff. So, yeah. So I don't really buy those puritanical viewpoints. They use something called the camera lucida. And you can definitely tell they use the camera lucida because of how the size of the portraits in the Renaissance, and also that they were actually looking like through a window, which is exactly the way the camera lucida would work. So I thought that was very interesting. And I'm just going to darken this dark here. Remember, going perpendicular. And I think that's going to be a good lesson for everyone. If you go perpendicular with your freehand shield, it's going to be 100 times better for you. So let's go ahead and get that really nice curve here. There's one hair that has this really beautiful curve. So I'm just going to go perpendicular. See that? I have this nice curve, this curved hair. And then I can just take this. I have the dark. And I can just pull that out like that. And this is one of the first times I did something like this, so we'll see how it goes, but I think it's going to work out. Got one like little errant hair there. And then we can just move in some darks here, and we can take out our paintbrush right now. And of course, guys, this is the Cotman by Winsor & Newton. It's a rigger brush 333. There should be a link in the description field of this video or some of the other videos. I definitely have a link where you can purchase this on Amazon. So what we're going to do right now, I'm just going to use this rigger brush, and we're going to work on some hairs here and there. There we go. So you see how we're just developing that one hair there, but I think it's pretty important to try different techniques. If it doesn't work, it's all good. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. It's only the hair. It's not something you can't fix, right? But as you can see, I'm just working on some hair texture. And you know what? I want the work to, there's a little fabric here in the ink, so I want to make sure that doesn't go in my airbrush. Okay, so you don't want to be too precious with things. You can test things out like I'm doing right now, what I did with that little errant hair. And it's always good to, you know, never stay stagnant, never be afraid to do different things. And don't stay in one area when you paint, guys. I think that's really where we can get into trouble. You see how I'm just moving about? And I think that goes a long way to keep your work fresh and unified. It's never a good idea if I just stayed at the eye and just made that eye just this incredible eye. When you are working like the old masters, you definitely want to be able to move around. Speaking of moving around, I don't want to move around the oils from my hand. So what I'm going to do is use my glove here. And so you can see I'm just having a good time working on the hair, and it's going to go a long way. But as I'm working on the hair, I have this light mixture, the 3-to-3. I'm going to go ahead and we're just going to get rid of some of the excess ink. You don't want the paintbrush to be too wet. And we're going to work on Emma's eye here. There we go. And it's not planned, you know, it's not planned where I'm going to go in with the eye. It's not planned where I'm going to, you know, work on the hair. I'm just moving around. It keeps things like an impression as opposed to, you know, just something so static and dead. Keeps the work alive. At least that's what I was taught. And it's always best to adjust on the surface, you know, not worry about getting it perfect. And that's very important. And let's see here if I can see some questions here. Paris, for those sizes, you will need a projector. Actually cheating. This week, I just realized how is it that all these classes keep popping up using popular images. What number rigger brush is this, Tim? This, he says this is a 333. So that's really cool. The 333 rigger brush, it really is fantastic. If you get your hands on one of them, you're really going to love it. Because it's long, you really have the ability to get this like really super fine line. And you know what? You can lift up and you really get that hair quality. And I really don't get concerned about how long it takes to paint a particular picture. You know, never rush it, never get excited. If it takes a little longer, that's great, you know. It's a good thing. It means you're being more thorough. Got to make sure I don't get my my hair in the way. And I really love doing these tight details here. Now when we come in with the white pastel, things are really going to pop as they usually do. And you can see Emma's likeness is starting to come up. Yes, it's a 333 Winsor & Newton and Cotman is their individual brand. Is it copyright to use? Is it copyright infringement to use for gain? Is that? Do you mean like photographs and stuff of like celebrities? Well, no, for learning purposes, I believe copyright law does not affect it. If I was going to go ahead and sell prints of this, then it would. But if I'm just doing this as a teaching tool, I don't think that it is copyright infringement under the copyright laws. I'm sure if they were upset about it, they could make a claim about it, but I don't see that happening. So right here you'll see that her nose extends just a little bit over her finger there. And there's a little bit of cast shadow of this finger on her face there. I might lighten that up a little bit. And then we have just a couple of hairs, hair texture right here. There we go. And let's just keep moving. So I put a light here, so it would be a good idea to put a corresponding dark with the light. So that's something that I just started doing. So if I have this light here, if that little hair has a little bit of dark under it, sort of pops out that hair. Makes it a little more interesting. Brings a little more interest to it. Well, you know, it's interesting question about copyrights, right? It's always going to be a debate about it. So there now we're working on the her eye there. So I'm just going to quickly wash the ink out of here. And then we'll go back to our lighter color with the Sotar Slim. What a beautiful airbrush, right guys? Just a beautiful airbrush. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to darken the lid of her eye. And then the corner of her eye. We have a little bit of a dark there. And everyone says, Dr. Steve says, I guess that makes sense. Copyright and selling an image made from a copyrighted work. Yeah, that's, if it's, I even think, Dr. Steve, it's a one-time piece of artwork, you're safe. But I think once we, as artists, start selling prints of it, then it really becomes a blatant. Copyright is usually a lot of gray areas, but it is a blatant copyright once we start doing prints of it. So definitely. And Heath says infringing on copyright would be great publicity. And so that's pretty cool. What if I made my own image and just by accident looked like someone else already in existence? That would be interesting. If they actually filed a copyright claim, you would have to, or they would have to just be delegated, or not delegated is the right word, but you know, just like a trial to find out if it is the same person. All very, very interesting, guys. So as you can see, I'm developing her hair there, which is pretty cool. Now, looking at this, I could see, let me shut the door to my compressor closet. So I have a compressor closet. So, so we're just going to move around again. So, you know, you see like the pencil line I had there. Eventually those pencil lines are going to go away. So we have this light. So this is actually going to become some white pastel here, and then a little bit of a cast shadow from the shirt, and that's really going to bring that shoulder in front of the hair. So we're always thinking, you know. Oh, Mike S says like the teeth on Marilyn Monroe, buck teeth on Marilyn Monroe, or a peg leg on Rita Hayworth, then no copyright. And Dr. Steve says, so a self-portrait of me that accidentally looked like Dr. Strange because I am not a good artist, I'd be okay. You're a good artist, Dr. Steve. Very good. And also, yeah, but it's interesting. They would have to, I guess they would have to really prove that your intention was to break their copyright, I imagine. One of these days, maybe we could have like a guest speaker who would be like a lawyer or something like that who specializes in copyright. Wouldn't that be fantastic, guys? So when our channel gets bigger, we can probably have guests like that. That would be fantastic. That cast shadow got a little crazy on me there. And so that would be great. So something like that would be really good. What if you wanted to paint Mona Lisa? You can paint Mona Lisa. I don't believe there's a copyright on that. It'd be interesting. I don't think you could, you would have to change it in some way to do prints. You definitely couldn't say that it was Leonardo da Vinci's as well. These are all great questions. So you see I calmed this down here. And some of these pencil lines will be taken care of when the white pastel comes. But I'm really enjoying moving around. So I'm going to take my Sotar again. And surprisingly, like now I'm moving around, I'm finding that the Sotar actually holds a lot of paint with just 2 drops. Meaning that it's it uses the paint with the gravity feed really well. So you see I'm just darkening up. Now that might seem too dark, but we haven't gotten darker around here yet. So let's go ahead and use our freehand shield and go parallel. There we go. See how we push that finger forward. Very important. So guys, I've been on this diet lately. You know, like a plant-based diet. I still have my meat every once in a while, but I am on a mostly plant-based diet, and I've lost, I would say, at least 8 pounds so far, which is pretty cool. And let's see, Disney has led copyright thing, extending the copyright length of time where it originally was. I don't remember details, but watched an interesting YouTube on it. Very cool. And Bill says, although Disney has managed to keep Mickey Mouse renewed. And he says, so Bill, does that mean I expired several years ago? I hope there's no expiration date on you there, Heath. That's for sure. Oh, congratulations, Tim. For what? What happened? So let's see. Oh, yeah, the 50 years, right. So, Wendy, what was the congratulations for? Thank you in advance. Oh, that's right, losing the weight. Thanks, Wendy. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm trying, trying to be healthy and get rid of some excess weight and just so I have more energy. So Willie says they can sue me. I don't have much, just a bunch of airbrushes. Hey, that's a lot to me. Uh, so yeah, one time you know, I was doing a portrait of Selena, and Selena's estate actually contacted me and told me to cease, and I did, of course. So, uh, you know, some sometimes they're very active, and but a lot of times it's good publicity for them just to have someone do their portrait. So I don't know. I think it's a slippery slope, guys. That's for sure. Okay, so let's see. Where can we move around now? So since we started darkening things up, perhaps we can go ahead and darken up the bridge of her hat there. So right here, I'm going to say to myself, the bridge of this hat is probably the same value as this right here. So we can just darken that up just a little bit using our freehand shield. We have a really nice healthy group today, healthy amount of people. So really thank you everybody for, spending your Wednesday evening with me. I'm very honored. So guys, I'm thinking of calling my live streams Tim Streams. Just a little bit different, just something funny. Might be like the next Tim stream is going to be as opposed to live stream. Just making things a little, more fun and individual, Oh, you're welcome, Willie. Thank you. No, definitely. So let me just scroll back here. And Tim streams. Also, how can they make you stop if you were not going to make money from it? They would. They can if they want. If they want to control what is produced with Selena's image. And so I do understand that. But not many celebrities feel the same way or their estates. Dr. Steve says, never hurt to ask permission if one wants to paint someone famous and sell their image. Just contact a representative and maybe they'll let you go for it. Definitely. Definitely. Let's see. My buddy got a cease and desist letter from painting John Deere monster truck. Wow. And they do have their rights to do that. I understand and I feel for them and everything like that. So we're just going to continue darkening this up. So right now I'm using the darker pink color, which is the 1 to 2, 1 drop of ink to 2 eyedroppers of water. And there's a variation here and you want to look for that. Even in the shadow, guys, I want you to look for the variations that are going on. It's not just... Now, that's where you'll see a lot of photorealists, is that the work will look flat because they're seeing flat shapes as opposed to really looking at the subtle modulations going on. And as I just clean up the edge over here, some paint spray here, overspray. And I'm just going to get my freehand shield and always try and remember that whole parallel rule there. You just have more control. And we're just going to separate this from the background there. We're just going to create an edge. See that? We're just going to create an edge on that hat. It's not even there, but I'm creating it. Because we got to push that contour away from it. The old masters did that. They will put contours where there weren't any. so that, you know, it's okay to do that. It's just it's not so much what's going on with the image, is just making some artistic license to bring things forward. And we're going to work on the edge of this finger here. There's a little cast shadow on that finger, that middle finger. Cast shadowing on that index finger. And that's going to go a long way. Pulling that middle finger a little bit in front of that index finger. See that? We're just pulling that forward. And okay, so let's see if we could go ahead here. And forgive me for not answering the questions. I'm just going to concentrate on this image for a few moments here. And if it's an important question directed to me, just ask it again when I come back. There we go. And we have different freehand shields, guys. So right here, we have this one. Just try and find the best freehand shield, best part of your freehand shield as well. See that? So we can actually make that finger there, fingernail. Let's do it with this one as well. Sometimes it takes a while. Have patience. You will find the correct part of your freehand shield. Just make sure that we have patience for it. You don't want to rush this. And we're going to still do the parallel. There we go. So you see how we're just creating some of those fingernails. And while we're there, let's continue working on that. And this is going to be a job for down the line when we come in with the white pastel. We're not coming in with the white pastel for several reasons. One of the main reasons is that we're still doing a lot of ink. So if we do the white pastel, we're going to have overspray on that white pastel and we're going to lose the effect. Also, if we come in and key it too much with the white, we're going to draw everything off. Right? So we don't want to draw the values off. We want to basically go our mid-tone way. See how we are very mid-tone, and then slowly we're building up to that, you know? We're slowly building up to those darker darks and lighter lights. And it's just, you know, as we are going, we're resolving. But you notice that things are sort of moving around all over the place, which is good, which is very good. So let me get this. So this is a good pencil here. This is the Graph Gear 500. It's by Pentel. It's a 0.3. I kind of like using this one. It's really great. I do see a question right now. Hey Tim, do you think 50 degrees is too cold to airbrush with inks or paints? Just on to be comfortable, I think 50 degrees would be a little uncomfortable for me. I think I would have to have a jacket, and I don't think there's going to be any problem with inks because they're so watered down. I think if you were working with acrylics, I think it would start to freeze it up a little bit. I'm not sure. That would probably be something that Dr. Steve might be able to answer. He has a much more scientific mind than I do. Something thicker like acrylic, would that freeze faster or thicken up faster than, let's say, something more water-based, Dr. Steve? If you know that. It's 10:30. Oh, so you know what 10:30 is, right? That means we're going to freeze up. So before this even happens, freezing up. Willie, you're the best. That's pretty cool. So let's go ahead and we're just going to proactively get that authorization back. So we're going to move over here. Let's see. And I am just going to, let's see here. Okay, so I want to make sure I'm not typing any passwords or anything on a live stream. So we are going to put in the information and then the password. Okay, and allow. Okay, so now we're back, so that's very cool. And so we could, but thank you for that. Definitely letting me know that it's 10:30, and for some reason, 10:30. So we have some pretty cool information from Dr. Steve. Well, one would imagine that if you are not near freezing, 32 degrees, great point, then that would be distilled water. Then you would add impurities to depress the freezing point. Very true. So 50 degrees, you still wouldn't have any freezing. It's only at 32 and below, as Dr. Steve said, that, yes, Willie, your job is done. It's as Dr. Steve says, it wouldn't be anything but just being uncomfortable, but it wouldn't affect the airbrushing. It wouldn't affect it because there wouldn't be any congealing, because that doesn't happen until around 32 degrees. So pretty great point. So thank you so much, Dr. Steve, for that. Definitely missed having you here. You know, everyone brings something so cool and individual to the live streams. We need everything. We need everybody. So important. So last year I painted a motorcycle in a trailer. We had to run 2 big blow heaters to clear it. Wow, that's something. It was not a fun time at all. Oh my goodness, yeah. So we definitely want our optimal conditions and temperatures and everything. I think I would be a little uncomfortable to do my best job at 50 degrees. A little chilly. So right now we're going to see if I could do some of these eyelashes here. There we are. We're just sort of like indicating them right now, so that's good. Oh, Dr. Steve says, glad to help. Trying time would be rough in that situation. So yes. So it's very interesting to get all these different viewpoints. You guys have different experiences from me. I learned so much from you guys. Definitely. So I look forward to learning from everybody. Wendy has some great information and just really fantastic. Okay, so let's go ahead and work on the dark here. I'm going to use my freehand shield. Make sure I don't get too dark, but just sort of reiterate the value here. There we go. So going back to that pencil, let's go ahead and see if we could find the nail bed here. So we'll just sort of go there. This nail bed right here. There we go. And then over here. So I always recommend not going straight in with the airbrush. I think that's like a very cavalier approach. But you definitely want to have that license to erase with the pencil. So I recommend this. There we go. So we have the nail beds there. Maybe I made this one a little bit small. We can enlarge it here just to make us happy. And then once we go ahead and put that in, then we could go ahead and erase those pencil lines, which is really cool. So let's go ahead and make this happen. I think we can go with the lighter value. So let's go ahead with our Sotar and put in a couple of drops of the lighter mixture. 1, 2. Remember always, and I'm always going to say this, you know, make sure you don't mix over your artwork. Just so many disasters could happen. When you refill the airbrush, you want to make sure your initial spray is not on the artwork. Before you start on the artwork, just go ahead and do some test sprays to make sure that your airbrush is working properly. So many mistakes I've made, that's why I do that. Wendy says, if it's damp, I do both a dehumidifier and space heater to keep the area at least in the 60s. Look at that. So fantastic, Wendy. Thanks for sharing that. Whoop. So let's go ahead and work on this nail bed here. There we go. Always look at your reference when you're painting. Always look, that's going to be your answer. Your answer is always in the reference. Not always too easy to read the answer, but the reference is always your answer. Usually, 99 times out of 100. Sometimes you'll have to look to paintings of the old masters to find the correct answer. You know, solving problems such as, you know, let's say if you have a light image next to a light background, how do you pull that forward? Well, look at the old master paintings and they'll show you how they solved that problem. So definitely always look at the work of the old masters, guys, if you can. They're going to help you immensely. There we go. Just really bringing those fingers apart from one another. There we go. And also so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, I have my TV here in the studio, and I'm going to see if I'm able to see my my live stream here. Sometimes I can. Let's see. Sometimes I'm able to see my live streams. Just so I can see the color, what you guys are seeing. But not today. I have to work out the bug on that one. So let's go ahead and darken the cast shadow created by this middle finger onto the index finger. And even going parallel is still the right answer for this over there. So definitely you see as I'm moving around, this is what I want you guys to do. Now right here, just by moving around and using the darker color here again, I'm going to go ahead. So do you guys do a 2 airbrush? Have you guys done a 2 airbrush where you'll have your lighter value and darker value airbrush? That's something I'm just starting to do and I'm enjoying it. Deepening her eyebrow here. Now, we can go ahead and use our paintbrush, our liner brush or rigger brush. Okay, so let's go ahead and work on some of these errant hairs over here. We'll move the paint a little closer. Now, this is what I learned from Drew Blair, is that when hair is next to a light surface, it becomes dark, and when it's against a dark surface, it becomes light. So that was some good information from Drew. And we can actually go ahead and use our Sotar and work on some of these larger areas of hair. One of the reasons why I do like the gunmetal, because, you know, coming new into the technique, the gunmetal is a lot more forgiving than even the Dreadnought Gray. So I really want it for, you know, you guys and girls who are learning the technique. You know, it's just so important. Going to switch airbrushes to the darker Extreme Patriot Arrow. Just loving these airbrushes, really loving them. Badger is doing some amazing things lately, guys, and pennies on the dollar, it seems, than their counterparts out there. So you see now I'm just moving around here, and I'm even going to deepen this up even some more. So as I'm working here, I can see we're at 10, it's 10:45. This is where we would want to make sure that I'm not neglecting any areas. And I think I'm neglecting this area right here. We're going to go work on that and sort of catch it up. Red, White, and Blade, hey, how you doing? Matt from Dick Blick, how you doing? So Matt is a great artist. He works at Dick Blick. So we have a question for you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, Matt. So maybe you can help me, Matt. So I use this paper. It's gunmetal, and it's pretty important for the technique. It's by De La Rowney, Canford cardstock, and it is not available on the website. Would you be able to find out what's happening with that? That would be fantastic if you could. We're all going crazy because it's no longer on the website, you know? So that's pretty cool. So that would be great. So we have inside information. Matt, it works at Dick Blick. How cool is that? So yeah, Matt is great. He has an Instagram account, and he does some really fantastic artwork. Really, really great. So let's see here. I'll ask again. Tim, have you ever used a standard wire to do hair? No, not really. I should try it if, you know, I heard good things about wire. I never really done that, but that's a great idea. So thanks for that, Mike. Bill, how come I don't get any notifications when you put up a video? So that's a question for Bill. Very cool. My guest says I've done some pearl flame jobs and looking to do a nice flame job or nice flake job soon. That's where I mess it up, Tim, doing hairs with the airbrush. And Heath, you don't have to do hairs with the airbrush. You just have to do it when you feel comfortable. But using this brush will do the job. And, you don't got to get too detailed with it. You can just do the larger areas like I'm doing here. So we're just going to do this hair coming down. You see I can do like a little flick like that. So, okay, great. So now we're moving around. Raul, good to see you. How you been? Thanks so much for showing up and spending your Wednesday with me. So that's so exciting. And so we got Red, White, and Blades, which is Matt. And then we have Raul, who just joined the show, so that's fantastic. Joined the Tim stream. Matt's going to get bombarded by us now. You guys are funny. Let's see. So we are just moving around. Okay, so I did promise to go into that sleeve. Heath says, yes, I have a liner brush, works great, but want to get a rigger. Yes, I highly recommend it. There is a link in the description, I feel. So if you don't, I'll send you that link. So that would be cool. Thanks, Heath. So we lost the feed. Is anyone else seeing it? It might be just. Let's see. So how's the sound, guys? So thank you so much, Dr. Steve. Let me know that. So just gonna wait till you guys let me know everything is going good with the stream, with the sound and the picture quality and everything. Great. So you see it, Wendy, and do you hear me? Sound and video are great. So it might be just your connection or something like that. So I would check, Dr. Steve, but always, guys, always check and see, because if thanks, Mike. Always check and ask me, because it could be a system-wide on my end. So thank you so much, and I hope you get to see me pretty soon, Dr. Steve. Okay, I keep getting sidetracked. So let's go ahead and move into her folds of her shoulder here. That's always good. Mike S. says, you're looking and sounding good here, Tim. Thank you so much, Mike. Coffee, yes. That's what I'm talking about right there. There it is. Still got some left. Bill says, uses a whisk broom, wire, wheat, and occasional fan brushes. Very cool. Thanks for sharing that. That's really great information. So we're going to use our freehand shield, and we're just going to work on some of the specifics of her cute sweatshirt here. There we go. There's like a little crease here on the shoulder. And I still like doing parallel, even though we're doing a contour, I still like doing the parallel line. I mean the perpendicular to the freehand shield here. And let's darken up this shadow. So now we're working on the sleeve, and all the same principles as we are doing her hair or her forehead or her eyes apply. We're looking at edges. We're not getting super detailed. It's just her sleeve. We're getting accurate, but not super detailed. I mean, you can, and that's cool if that's what you want. There we go, and you see we can just move around. Okay, so you see how we could definitely start to get some volume here. And I'm using the darker mixture here. And you know, you can see I'm doing a lot of dagger strokes, pulling back a little bit less if I want the value, or maybe even coming further away. You want to paint in 3 dimensions. Oh, Dr. Steve, that would be good. Reload the page. That might be what's happening. Oh man, I'm so sorry you're having trouble. So as you can see, just moving around. So as I was saying, you want to paint in 3 dimension. You want to use distance as well as left and right. So you want to use your variation of distance to get lighter. There we go. And hey Tim, have you ever thought of sending your paintings to the person they are of? No worries everyone, I got it back and reload the page. Great, very cool. So glad to have you back, Dr. Steve, thank goodness. Actually, I just did a speed painting of, and I was very happy with it, the speed painting of Sheryl Sandberg, and I want to get that to her as a gift. But I haven't gotten a reply yet from her office. But yeah, I mean, I've done that, and oh, thanks, Bill. Oh, wait a minute, that fabric is looking awesome. Is that directed to me? If it is, thank you, Bill. I appreciate that. As a gift, definitely. They may put your name out, and you'll get some business. Yeah, you know, that's always a good residual, right? And I always like to, if I admire, like I admire Sheryl Sandberg, and I just wanted to do that. But yeah, it's always great if you can get some word of mouth. That's always a fantastic thing, Mike, right? Get some word of mouth is always a very helpful thing. And let's see. So let's go ahead and see if we can start, you know, pulling out some of the lights in her blouse here. And this is not easy, you know, it takes time to develop this, but you want to give it some attention. Once we come in with the white pastel, guys, it's really gonna pop, you know. Oh, thanks, Bill. I appreciate that. Bill said that the fabric's going well. I always appreciate that. Bill had a really nice live stream last night on Facebook. I was privileged to go check out. I really enjoyed it. Thanks for sharing that, Bill. I really appreciate that. And Jake's doing a Clint Eastwood that's coming out really fantastic. I don't know if Jake is still here. And let's see, he says getting contact info on celebs is not easy, if not impossible. Yes. I'm thinking of painting Lisa Klo, but oh, you're a fanboy. That's Lock Refine Art, right? Is that who it is? No, I don't think so. I don't think... She's another artist on YouTube. I don't know if that's who you're meaning. Yes, Dr. Steve says, WL Artistry, Bill has fantastic videos showing his hair painting techniques. Check him out on YouTube, definitely. I second that. He does some great things. So, very informative. So, he's a very giving artist. And just keep moving around, and you know, I didn't want to neglect the folds here. Same thing over here. This isn't just this voided area, so I'm going to address that. And how I'm going to address it is just work on the variation of value here. As you can see, I just changed the distance of the airbrush to the surface. If I want to get darker, if I want to get lighter, I increase the distance. Now, one of the things you want to be careful of, number one, don't oversaturate the surface. You don't want to do that. Number two, if you go over it too many times, you'll have a buildup of liquid and then you'll get spidering. So be wary of that. There we go. Moving around. So she moves between every medium so effortlessly. Oh, so it is from Lockreed Fine Art. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, she has a very popular YouTube channel. She's kicking butt as far as subscribers are going. Hey, Jake, how you doing? So you did hear my shout out about your Clint Eastwood, right? Tim, that little bit of her smile is very Mona Lisa-esque. It really is, right? It's so cute. And I'm even going to go in there a little bit. And that's one of the things that actually drew me, Heath, to her, this particular picture, is because I wanted to really get that expression, you know? Sort of that one-on-one expression when you see it. Dr. Steve says, when you do work on the shadow of the face, like her left nasolabial fold to get the cheek. Yes, exactly. So I can just, so I have the darker mixture here. Very good question. So we can go ahead with our lighter mixture in the Sotar 2020 Slim. I always gush whenever I touch this airbrush, guys. So, you know, it's just so fantastic. So this nostril right here, and how I could do that is sort of sort of show that cheek a little bit as it comes away from her nostril. And even right here, you have that little indentation right there. So very good question, Doctor, definitely. So same right here as I'm working, I could just pull this out right there. And if I need to adjust, I can always come in. It's a very forgiving paper. I can always lighten that up with the eraser. And also, let's go ahead and see if we could just strengthen that cast shadow. There we go. See, and it's true, it does pull that out, right? That's for sure. So let's see. She was about 20,000, I think, a few years ago. No, she's actually in the 200s, as you say, yeah. I'm sort of torn if I want to get that big. So it's very, you know, I like how small it is right now, but when it gets big, it might not have the same one-on-one quality, which I'm enjoying now. Dr. Steve says those faint shadows like around the mouth mess me up on my portrait. It happens to the best of us, right, Dr. Steve? It really does. So you know, they're very subtle, and you almost gotta be like, you know, like they don't exist in the sense they're so darn subtle. And I've learned to really uh, try and consciously understate it, so it's not so it doesn't get too dark, too up. So Mike S says, scroll up, Tim. So Mike has a question, I believe. Mike says, that's what I was going to ask. If you start using tree airbrushes, how are you going to pick what mix goes in what size brush, needle, tip combo? Good question. So the lighter one, usually when I need like more detail, I'm gonna go with a smaller needle, Mike. So as you can see, my Sotar 2020 has a 0.21 needle. I'm using that for the lighter mixture. The darker mixture don't need to be right now as fine. I'm using this. I think it has a 0.35, but what's really deceiving is this one really does incredible things with detail. I mean, unbelievable. So at that point, I'm probably never going to go anything bigger than a 0.35 since I work so small. So that's probably what I'm going to do. I make a mental note as to what is in what. When I'm doing white, I want to use the biggest needle, the largest needle. So it would be a 0.35. If I don't have a 0.50 at this time, I would actually use that even when I'm working with white. So, you know, that's definite, you know. And Dr. Steve says, wow, huge difference now, Tim. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And thank you for, you know, pointing that out because, you know, I didn't see it. So thank you so much. So that really helps. So what we're going to do is we're just going to move around here. And there is a slight dark that comes down. And now Mike, this would be where your Sotar Slim with the 0.21 is going to come into play. You have a little more exactitude, I guess, is the word. And then I'm just going to, with the light mixture, I don't want to get too dark, so I can darken that. See that? So that light mixture with the 0.21 needle is a really good combination. And now, since I'm just going to let that dry just for a few seconds, and then right around I'm going to pull out that negative space. And you see, so you do work with the darker color and the lighter color, and it does make a difference what airbrush you use for each, definitely. Great question. White pastel is coming next week, guys, so that's really cool. So Dr. C said I'm able to watch the reference color image as you paint, so that helps me to see what I'm doing. Oh, so cool. Yes. And I started doing that, definitely. I know it really does help to have that there. And just moving around, keeping things together. So let's go back to her folds here, and I have my darker value here. Now I'm not going to get too specific with her. I'm understating the fabric a little bit. But we definitely, you know, like a supporting actor or actress, we want to make sure that we resolve it to the best of our abilities, but still keeping it a little understated than this area here. So my compressor is going off, which is good. It's a little bit of, I think it's like a 5-gallon compressor, so it doesn't go off all the time. I mean, often. Let's use some of the advantages of the Sotar. There we go. And if the line sometimes is a little rough for whatever reason, you can always even it out. Just make sure it's dry. There we go. Now we can go ahead and continue some of these edge works here. And then we're going to come back in with the eraser to do some really refining of everything here. Right here we have a pretty dark crease in the fold. Whoop, that was a funny noise. There we go. So we just darken that crease there. As we darken the crease, we had a little bit of an overspray. So definitely lightening that up will really help describe the form a lot better. And we're going to come in with white pastel down the line to really pull that up. Like I said, it's tempting to come in with the white pastel and resolve everything right away, but it just will blow everything out of whack. As you know, we want to make sure we don't get too dark or too light too early. Kind of messes with the whole technique here. My guest says I got a 6-gallon tank and it's rated 4,000 hours before wear starts. A super quiet compressor. Yeah, that's so great. I have a California Air Tools. I know that Bill has another brand. He actually has a video about it, right? If I'm not mistaken, which is pretty cool about his compressor. As you can see, I'm just moving around, guys. Always moving. So just pull that back. And it's just, you know, good to keep things going, keep moving around the image. And then as I'm working, I'm darkening this area, I can say to myself, okay, so this part of her hat is a little dark, so let's lighten that up. This is how I was trained, guys, to never stay in one area at a time. But, oh, look at this. So we have a cast shadow that I did not even indicate yet. So let's go ahead and see if we could go ahead and pull up that cast shadow just a little bit. So I'm going to use my freehand shield like here. I'm going to use my Sotar Slim because it's a very light color. And remember that has the 3-to-3 mixture in there, the 1-to-1. There we go. See that little cast shadow there? Always, never have a shirt that you love. Always good to wear black so you can sort of clean off your freehand shield. And let's see. So my guest says, I see a lot of artists use X-Acto knives and the tip for hair strands. And highlights. Do you do that style? I do if I'm working on Masonite, definitely. And an electric eraser, definitely with Masonite. On paper or anything like illustration board, it's just going to kill it. So you definitely don't want to. James, good to see you. So glad you made it. How you been, James? I don't know how long you've been here, but I'm so glad you're here. So great questions I'm getting. So very cool. So sorry I didn't see you. I have my head down a lot. So, you know, so definitely just keep asking a question if I don't see it. Definitely don't want to ever ignore anybody. Everyone's question is very important to me. That's the main thing about this whole live stream thing, is that you guys get to ask questions. You can't do that with a regular video. And plus, I just want to help you guys. And, you know. So Willie says, I spilled ink all over me yesterday. Oh my God, was it Higgins? Oh my God. It didn't get on any artwork though, Willie, did it? So that's cool. So Bill has a Cobalt. Same motor as the cat. Okay, cool. So that's really neat. I really want to get eventually one of those silent compressors. So that's rough. Because I know I'm making noise and I would love... Hey Lance, good to see you. How you been? So cool. Thank you so much for stopping by. So Lance is new here, and everyone give a shout out to Lance. So cool. Dr. Steve says, can you zoom the reference image to compare it towards the end of the video? Definitely. Yeah, that's for sure. So Lance, thank you for coming by. And James says, I was going into withdrawals. We miss you there, James. So, you know, we have Dr. Steve back and we have you back. So thank you so much. Wendy was in New Mexico. She's back. She was back last week. So how cool is that? We have Paris today. So thank you guys. Thank you guys for making this Wednesday a memorable live stream already. Really cool. The Tim stream. I always said I was going to make a corporation and I was going to call it Timerica. I don't know how long that corporation would last. So let me go ahead and just keep moving around with the difference of values. Now we're talking relative value, guys, because we're not at our darkest dark or lightest light yet. But at next week is when we pull everything together. Things start popping and exploding. Yes, I just had to refresh the Tim stream. That's it. Thanks, Dr. Steve. And how about the Airstream? That sounds like a cool name. Definitely. I like that. The Airstream. Wendy, that was a cool idea. So, yeah, this is fantastic. A great week here today. So cool to have everybody here. I want to get a California Air Tools Ultra Quiet model. That's the one I have. It's 50 decimals, so you guys hear it going off. I'm only maybe about 6 feet from the compressor. I do have it in the closet with the door shut, but it's still, you know, still is, you know, people can still hear it. So it's cool, and it's a great one during the day because you can even talk over it. But at night, I'd like to have one of those real quiet ones. But that's $700. My goodness. Mucho dinero. So you see, we're just moving around. So you see, we moved over here. We were down here at the fabric. And let's go ahead and see where, you know, when you're doing this technique, you always got to continue asking yourself, air hosers for a name. That's pretty cool. I like that, Mike. Food is amazing. Oh, okay. So let me see. Albuquerque, yes. So oh yeah, the food is, I hear the food is amazing, Lance, in New Mexico, in Albuquerque. So cool. Now, where are you from, Lance? I'd love to hear. We have people from all over, Pennsylvania, New York, Texas. We have our Canadians. I'm looking at moving from Ohio to Taos. Paris, cool, Ohio. Where in Ohio? Near Cincinnati? Wendy says, green and red. Christmas is how I order. That's funny. Oh, is that the food? Very cool. So I'm neglecting this area here. So what I'm going to do is I am going to first work on the edge. That's a pretty funny sound. So this is going to be rough. So this is where that technique of the parallel is so important, because you don't want to cross contours. See that? So that's how I sort of, even though I had it like that, I still went ahead and did the perpendicular technique so I don't cross those contours, which would really be horribly ugly and very difficult to fix. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to repeat that process right about here. First I want to do is just establish the exact edge there. See that? And now I am going to do that parallel method here. Perpendicular, forgive me. There we go. So now that we have that established, we always want to ask ourselves, is it a solid shape or is there something else going on in there within that shape? And even in the fold here, there is some, it's darker at the top and then it sort of lightens up as you go further down. Even in that little crease, it's going to make a difference. And then we have this here. And another good rule of thumb, when this gets like really nubby, not sure that's a word, but the point here, we want to go ahead and sharpen it. Let me get my pencil sharpener. So this is a really good, another thing. When you're getting pencil sharpeners, all pencil sharpeners, oh, my guess is in Painesville, 30 miles east of Cleveland. Go Browns. Very cool. How do the Indians look this year? So what I'm going to do is just move my artwork away and let's go ahead and sharpen that up. Now this pencil sharpener is really good because it has a metal inside, a metal blade. If you ever a metal pencil sharpener inside, see if I can, let me empty this out because it's really full. There we go. So you see here it has a metal blade. Metal apparatus. Some of the ones that have the plastic one is just not going to cut it. It's going to break. Especially when you're sharpening colored pencils, pastels, these aggressive erasers here. You want that really strong pencil sharpener, metal pencil sharpener. Okay, so where were we? So we were working on the fold a little bit. There we go. So yeah, you want to see what's going on inside the folds. Let's get back to our Sotar with our lighter mixture. And we just want to make sure we cover up. You don't have crossing contours. Not much is much uglier than that. There we go. And see we're still doing our perpendicular technique. Very rarely do you want to use the parallel technique with the freehand shield. So it's very, very important. So, so Paris says, born in Pittsburgh. Wow, and you're just outside of Pittsburgh. Is that correct, Dr. Steve? Yes, go Steelers. Steelers in Cleveland. You guys are, you guys bump heads every year. Very cool. Very cool. What a great rivalry. Also, how about the Steelers and the Ravens. Those games are always like drag out fights. So let's go ahead and I'm going to just make this larger for Dr. Steve there and everyone else. So you can see how things are kind of shaping up there. You know, still got a ways to go, but we are setting up nicely, and that's what we're doing. We're setting up really nice. And let me get my lighter airbrush color. We're getting pretty low on the Sotar here with the amount of ink that's in there. So, but let's go ahead and darken this value here. There we go. So we're going to get ready for that last push next week, which is going to be the resolution of everything. Not in my head. I don't care about football. I'm a car guy. Very cool. Very cool. Cars are cool. So right now we're in sort of the last 7 minutes. So we're just basically finishing everything up for the day, for this week. So I'm going to do a video this week. I think I'm going to do a, don't quote me, but I think I'm going to do a review on the Sotar Slim. A little comprehensive, talking about, you know, why I love it. And I think that's going to be a cool video. So I'll definitely send you guys a link, that's for sure. My question got washed away. So Lance, what's your question? I'm definitely here. It's very important. I'm going to check and see if your question is there. Looking, Lance. I'm scrolling. Oh, Tim, for some reason I'm having a hard time getting a smile to look right when it shows teeth. I notice your video always have a smile without teeth. Yeah, you know, teeth are difficult. I am going to tell you they're not easy because there's so much, like there's like really negative space and everything like that. Let me show you one of the paintings I just did with teeth, which was very, very, very difficult. But I did finally get it. Let's see if I can pull her up. Where is Cheryl? Here we go. So you see here I did this portrait of Sheryl Sandberg. And yeah, so teeth are very, very difficult. You almost have to pretend they're not there and go against, you know, you wanting to put in the dark lines. So you have a lot of lost edges. And these negative spaces are just really difficult. So yeah, portraits with teeth are very difficult. So I tend to, if I'm photographing the model, not to have them. That's just my own thing. That's probably why you see a lot of artists don't do that. It's not that the artist can't do it, it's just they're very hard, right? Dr. Steve says, I goofed up my portrait that had the teeth. Not the worst thing ever for a first time. That was a great portrait for your first time with this technique, Dr. Steve. Unbelievable. No, that was fantastic. You should be very happy with that. I was extremely impressed. I thought that was a success, Dr. Steve. It was a very beautiful portrait. You know, it's not easy grasping all of these principles, and you definitely have a firm knowledge and of the principles, which is great, Dr. Steve. So it was very encouraging. So keep it going. And my guest says, I have a problem with teeth and ears, the inner shape of the ears. Yeah, that's not easy. One of the things I do recommend is just look up the anatomy of the ear, and you'll see that it's very, you know, with the helix and the inner helix, and it's just, once you know the anatomy of the ear, it's a lot easier. And I used to have problems with that. So give that a try, my guess. I think that would really work. Hands, yes, hands are very difficult. Hands, you just got to stick with it, you know. And, you know, as I'm working here, just realize that it takes time, you know, and you're not going to make it look like a perfect hand right away. You're just going to slowly, you know, resolve it. Work on the big shapes first and then make things smaller as we go. As he said, Dr. Steve says, as he said here to me early on, paint what you see, not what you think. Yes, exactly. Way to go, Heath. That's very good. Heath says, gotta go. Hey, thank you so much, Heath, for stopping by. Always fantastic. And hope to see you next weekend. So that's fantastic. Lan says, how do I share my work with you guys? On Facebook, go to Ink Flingers group, and that's where you can show your work. So if you just go to Ink Flingers group on Facebook, and we'll just let you in, and you know, and then you can you know, show your work, and we'll comment on it. We do it all the time, so that's fantastic. And so Ink Flingers, yes. So definitely on Facebook. So love to see your work, Lance. Definitely. So this live stream went really fast, hadn't it? I mean, it really went well and quick. So I was pretty happy. So this is where we are right now, and you can see we're getting there. It's not that we, you know, see, like right here, I see it's a little darker here. So you see, it's coming along. But next week is really good. So if you guys can make it next week, this is where we bring it all together. It'd be great to ask some questions. And, you know, because putting the painting together is great. It's very important. It's the meat and potatoes. But that finesse of bringing it together at the end, very important. How to find little subtle textures like in here, value changes, you know, all those different things really help the resolution, you know. And so it's just really great. Thanks so much, Willie. It's always great to have Willie here and everybody, and you know, the first timers, and have Dr. Steve back. So Dr. Steve is back, yes. And thank you, everybody. You guys are great. I had such a great Wednesday. I would never stop this. If I had 4 subscribers, I would still do this. And you know, we have 2,040 subscribers today. It doesn't matter. It's the people. Yes, Dr. Steve, thank you so much. The Tim Stream, yes. I hope you guys have a great night. You guys are fantastic. Thank you so much for spending your Wednesday with me, everybody.